So, Pal Professor, where you been? I've been beta testing Palworld 1.0 and I think 500 hours is an understatement. It's probably closer to 1,000 hours now, but I wasn't able to upload anything because I was just afraid I was gonna leak stuff. And I've also been moving house. I haven't had internet for like 2 weeks as well. So now 4 days left until 1.0, working on making a ton of videos now that I do have internet. And I'll talk a little bit about the beta testing while I'm cooking myself some food now and tell you all about it, I guess. Okay, so while this is getting fired up, this is the temporary planting station. Lots of plants didn't make it too well in the moving. Got a rain barrel, watering my plants, living the good life. Soon ready, almost ready. But yeah, 1.0, Bucky actually wrote on the, I think it was the 2nd of April, that we had the opportunity to beta test the 1.0 patch and provide any sort of feedback on balance, bug fixes, anything like that, and that it will be a 2-week trial period for this to give all the sort of feedback we could. And like history, Palworld history here, for anybody that follow the channel, like Sakurajima, Fabric, stuff like that, you know that it usually takes me like a month or something to come up with like the meta. I don't do the tier list, I don't do the best tactic available, nothing like that, until I've actually figured out like the best builds and everything, and that takes a couple of weeks. So having a 2-week deadline, pretty hectic. And I'm sure they wanted feedback on like the leveling process and everything like that. And actually the very, like one of the first things he wrote was, Bucky that is, don't load into your main save, make a new save. So naturally the first thing I did once I booted up the 1.0 test version was to jump on my main save and check out what all the new stuff looked like. And unfortunately a lot of it was in Japanese, but Bucky also wrote like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in Japanese, but you'll figure it out. So I just took him at his word for that, and I didn't want to bother him because Bucky's a little bit scary. So 2 weeks to figure out sort of the endgame meta while still providing a bit of feedback, because I was being a little bit selfish with this, that I did want to take the opportunity to play 1.0 early, just to figure some stuff out, find all the overpowered stuff. And then it kind of went against what I wanted to do, because I wanted to find the overpowered stuff for like videos and stuff for 1.0 launch, but now I had to provide the feedback that it actually was overpowered. So part of me just wanted to like keep some secret stuff hidden away, you know, if I'd find another rock burst, a holy burst, something like that. But I sort of had to be honest to it and provide the feedback, so I think quite a lot of like the super overpowered stuff has been nerfed by now for the release of 1.0. But still, these 2 weeks were probably the longest 2 weeks of my life, because they're still going on. It's been like 3 months, and they kept on extending the process, During the first 2 weeks, I went to my girlfriend and I was like, you know, it's gonna be 2 weeks of a lot of work, but then I'll be done, you know, 1.0 is gonna launch, I'll have everything ready. I was doing all the sort of DPS testing, the skills. I kind of just took my YouTube channel, sorted it by the most popular videos, and just decided to, I'll check out all the new stuff for this. So it's like the DPS testing, the best mounts, all the best combat pals, strategies against ultra bosses, everything like that, with 2 weeks to do it. And I also no data mining, nothing like that. I had to do it all the old school way, like jumping on a univolt, using one attack with 40 power, and then testing like an air blade, seeing how much damage each blade did compared to the tooltip. And then that's like 200 attacks or something in the game where I had to do that. So I spent a ton of time those first 2 weeks just playing Palworld, telling my family and stuff that I'll be done 2 weeks, just 2 weeks top. And then they extended it. I had to go, into the living room to the girlfriend, like, that 2-week period and all the stuff I've been testing, because they updated it. So all the testing I've done, all the DPS tests and stuff were worthless. It's like going into the living room, just like, yeah, they've extended it. It's gonna be a little bit longer of me just playing Palworld in the office. And yeah, since they've extended it until now, she's still around. She's still in the new house. We've moved now. Didn't have internet for 2 weeks either. So a lot of stress now. Last 3 days, I think, before 1.0 launches. Got a ton of videos to make actually and prepare for. But I didn't have internet until like yesterday, so we've been off the grid, minding the plants, minding the new house, everything like that. It's been pretty sweet. So in that original first 2 weeks of testing, all the like multi-hit skills had been reworked. So stuff like Lightning Streak, it was just hitting the ones. Earblade, no matter how many blades you're hitting, it was just hitting the ones for that full tooltip damage. So that was probably one of my more, in my opinion, important feedbacks right there. Was we got this sort of 3D game. It's not 2D, it's not like a turn-based game or anything. I really want the like environment or the 3D aspect to play a part in these skills. Like I want to line up the Lightning Streak along the entirety of a Bronze Cherry or German Tide or whatever. I want to be able to rush in close with the Rock Burst and do the shotgun skills. And for me, like the whole balance feedback thing is a bit odd, because I really don't care about Palworld's balance. Like I don't care if Xenoloord is a bit more difficult than the other raid bosses. I don't care if Rock Burst is completely overpowered. Earblade, Holy Burst, I like being overpowered. I like stacking my Gobfins, and I like playing without them as well, just doing regular PAL damage. But balance for me, not super important. So I tried my best. I went into all the like tower bosses, I tried some PALs, but as mentioned, all the new stuff was in Japanese, so I didn't actually know if I was using the overpowered stuff. So what I ended up doing then was, first I assumed that, the feedback I provide for Pocket Pair in terms of balance, they know I have like 4,000 hours in the game. I don't think they're taking too much of my like, this is too easy or this is too difficult into account when it comes to new players. Maybe for the very, very end game stuff, if they want that to be something that is somewhat of a challenge. But otherwise, I provided the feedback I could more in terms of numbers, which is a bit easier. I said like, this is how much was left on the timer. I was using the white gear, not legendary gear, etc, etc. I found this attack to be almost impossible to dodge. This boss had attacks that I never even took damage. Just stuff like that and the balance feedback. And then I just hoped Pocket Pair would take it for what it was. But yeah, I couldn't actually like use all the overpowered stuff as mentioned, because it was all either in Japanese or just missing text entirely. So what I ended up doing was I used the global PAL box, transferred my old armies. Hey boy, you wanna be a prop? Nope, just walking by. So I ended up taking like my Orsurk army, everything like that, and testing it against all the new bosses and stuff, the endgame content. And then I provided feedback with that into account. Like, I managed to win, but I'm not sure if this is the optimal. Like the muscle head build, everything like that. There was a lot of cool new stuff that I wasn't using. So that was also like keeping that into account. Because trying to provide feedback from like, at the beginning I was like, maybe a new player will struggle with this boss, and maybe dodging this attack will be tricky for a new player. But then, like, new players walk the wrong way at the start of the game and get stuck, and they have to build walls, or they die to starving. They're not dying to like Aqua Burst or something, they're dying to starving. It's a completely different game for them than what I assumed, so I just gave up on trying to pretend to be a new player giving feedback. Just focusing on like the end game balance stuff. And back to the 2 weeks, like, I was really rushing it. I didn't have the new and stuff like that, and I didn't want to bother Bucky. Didn't want to write to Bucky and be like, can you tell me what all the new like stuff is, so I can actually compare it with some endgame content and stuff like that. But luckily for me, Bucky ended up adding another Pocket Pair employee to the testing group, so then I could bother him a little bit with this, writing like, could you provide me some translations for the new stuff? But I tried to be very like correct with this, like, it's for your sake, it's not for mine. It's not so I can use all the overpowered stuff, it's so I can provide feedback on all the overpowered stuff, which kind of worked. I did get some information for the new stuff. I pushed it a little bit further. I was like, I'm testing all these skill fruits, trying to do the DPS testing. I don't have the internal values for them. All those like power rates, like you got Lightning Streak, is it actually hitting for 100% damage on every little hit? Stuff like that, because they did rework the attacks to be these multi-hit attacks again after that feedback, which I felt probably my most important contribution there. If it was even my contribution that resulted in that change, no clue. But so I asked them for those like power rates and stuff, and this little Pocket Pier employee, he wrote it all up for me, gave me all the information. Completely useless. It was not the information I wanted. I just got the powers and the cooldowns and stuff like that. But I didn't want to bother them again. I waited a couple of days before asking for anything else, really. It was really just like trying to balance being very needy with my own stuff. I wanted all the new overpowered stuff, but also like I didn't want to bother Pocket Pier too much with all my neediness with translations and stuff and all the hidden stuff. But what I actually discovered during this phase of the game, I think this is ready now. But what I discovered while testing all this stuff, that I was just having a great time going in completely blind. Like I didn't have any databases to check on, I didn't have any... Oh my boy. It's Winston. Check him out, he's right there, matching. You want to be a prop? Gonna shock you if you walk away. But yeah, going in completely blind, I discovered was just a ton of fun, because I couldn't look up online, like, what is the optimal build? I had to discover that, which are the best attacks versus every boss, had to do that part, and then just finding all the, like, stuff. Like, I wanted to craft some stuff, I couldn't find the materials, I had to look around the world. I was killing random bosses, you know, looting chests. We know that the drop rates are pretty low, so I was doing it repeatedly. And what I just found was, it was a lot more fun for me to play that way than like back in like the very original Palworld, you know, just knowing Jet Dragon has the rocket launcher, I'm just gonna kill him over and over and over. So both of them are fun in their own way, depends really, but going in blind was a ton of fun for me. And also just knowing that nobody else was playing the 1.0 patch meant that I was just kind of discovering my own meta. So I was balancing it, I was providing feedback for Pocket Pier, checking out all the bugs and stuff that they wanted, but also just enjoying 1.0 for me. It was a ton of fun playing blind actually. So I'm not gonna tell you not to watch my videos, because that's bad. Like, playing blind, not that fun actually. Overrated. And another part that was really fun for me was the patch notes. I'm a big patch note enjoyer. World of Warcraft, Dota 2, all those games. I really like reading the patch notes, going through it. As you might notice on my videos every time that Palworld releases a patch. And I think we got like 23 different patches during these 2 or 3 months. Mostly the first 2, because it slowed down a lot towards the end. It's just bug fixes now, fixes and crashing and stuff like that. But in the beginning it was like getting a new fabric every 3rd day. Just like long patch notes. I don't think Bucky is exaggerating when he says that he has 29 pages of notes just for 1.0. Because every week it was just stuff was changing, much to the dismay of my girlfriend, who had to watch me redo the DPS testing of the attacks, redo the DPS testing of attacks. They changed some bosses around, how they acted, what skills the bosses were using, and when they change what skill a boss is using, it really changes what PAL army you want to bring to raid, what PAL you want to bring to tower boss. Just because, like, if you add an element to the boss that didn't have before, all of a sudden your Orzerks are getting stone beaten to death by Xenolord. Just stuff like that. When they added Holy Burst to Xenolord Ultra, all that kind of stuff. So the worst part then about playing blind was probably, there were some endgame items that I really wanted, and I hadn't found a source. I tried killing bosses, you know, I was farming some endgame content, and just nothing dropped. And the only way that I could find them was from fishing, and quite rare fishing, and I hate fishing in Palworld. It's not my favorite thing. I like combat, I don't like doing stuff in my base, I don't like fishing, I don't like minigames in general like that, but it was the only way I found to get these endgame items. So I ended up binge watching For All Mankind and Invincible from season 1 to the end for both of them, just while fishing in Palworld. So probably, I feel like 30% or something of the time I spent in 1.0 was just flying around fishing, but eventually I did get all my endgame items, and like 2 days later there was a new patch, and those endgame items were added to, like, I got them in like 10 minutes after booting up the game on that patch. So probably the biggest waste of time ever, for me. Other people have probably wasted their time more, but it's mostly like, it's one thing if you enjoy it. Like, some people, they formed the Terra Prisma in the Terraria dungeon and then they added it to the Moonlord Master. It was kind of like that, but if you enjoy the Terra Prisma farm in the dungeon, it doesn't matter. But I did not like fishing, so that was a bit of a shame for me. As for the feedback itself, I mean, Pokepair, as I mentioned, they should know that I have like 4,000 hours. So if you find the content too difficult, because I kept on telling them, make it more difficult, make it more difficult. If it's too difficult, it's not my fault. They shouldn't have listened to me. If it's too easy, it's other people's fault. It's the other testers telling them to make it easier and easier, and I was just outnumbered. And if the balance is just right, then I take the credit. That's me. If you love the balance, I'll take all that credit. If you don't like it, not my fault. I put aside all the responsibility there. Because there were quite, like, not many, but there were some changes that I was a bit against. But I guess they have to cater as well to players that are not min-maxing to the extent that I am, in a way. Can't really say too much without leaking stuff. You'll see when the patch notes drop. I'll tell you what it was that maybe I didn't agree with, but a lot of the stuff, this was the best part for me actually. There was a lot of best stuff. The best part was playing blind, the best part forming my own meta, not being able to look stuff up. All that was the best part, but there's another best part as well. Because those were all best parts for like actually playing 1.0, which you're gonna enjoy anyway, but actually being like the tester, I was like, are they even gonna listen to our feedback, or are they mostly after like bug fixes, like I fell through the floor here, or I walked through this rock, or whatever. I provided a little bit of feedback for like, I think the best example was there was a piece of like PAL gear technology that was level 60 something, and the PAL was available very early. I said something along the lines of, it's a bit of a shame you catch the PAL very early, you see the tech tree, it's all the way down there at the level 60s. It would be a lot better if it was somewhere around level 13. Next update, it was exactly level 13, so that has to be me, right? That has to be my feedback, which felt nice. It was a bit of a radio silence thing. They didn't answer too much of the feedback. Stuff just happened. Maybe like 3 weeks later, you didn't really know if it was like your own feedback or if it was the feedback from like another tester. But all in all, I can tell you that 1.0 is huge. We've been testing it for about 3 months now. These 2 weeks are still going. I think it's been like 90 days or something. And I'm still just playing 1.0, finding new things, reworking all my old guides, the videos. And as mentioned, now I have like 3 or 4 days to make every video. I have like a checklist of 20 different videos that I want to make. Some of them are done. I think I've made like 10 of them by now. So I'm just very busy. That's why I'm making this video while cooking food. You gotta eat, right? So I thought I'd take this opportunity to talk a little bit about the 1.0 testing. And then my Palworld trading cards arrived as well. So I'm gonna make a little bit of an unboxing video there or something. I'm not big into the trading card game meta, or whatever you want to say. Like, I don't watch the unboxing videos. Bushiroad just contacted me and asked me if I wanted to make a little bit of trading card game content. And I'm mostly interested because it's Palworld. Like, I hope I get some of my favorite pals. So instead of acting like the cards I unpack are my favorite pals, it's Pull-A-Pup, it's Incineram, we got Beacon, we got Astegon, and then there's probably Orsurk as well. Probably the top 5 right there. Hoping to get some cards for those. Not sure if they have the updates pals. Like, is Pull-A-Pup even in the trading card game? I don't know. But the 2-week thing was still... I still think they just wanted us to provide feedback. Like, they wanted to stress us out. But I did miss out a little bit on the leveling experience. So I'm gonna start a fresh save on 1.0 launches anyway. Because, like, as I said, I just wanted to reach the endgame, do the endgame testing, provide endgame balance. I'm sure the other testers were able to provide feedback for like level 1 to 60. But I just wanted to really focus on, you know, the best builds. Could I find anything overpowered? Because we all know that like Palworld scales incredibly well with all the like different buffs you can get. You got your partner skill stacking, accessories, raid army stacking. Like if you have a pal without Serenity and without Holy Burst versus Ryu compared to one with, it's a very big difference. So I am looking forward to replaying the 1.0 patch again on the official launch as well, with a lot less bugs than I would have had. But I still think that 2 weeks was just like a way to really stress us out. I'm not sure if they extended it because we did such a good job those 2 weeks, or if that was the plan all along. But in a way, like I was gonna play 1.0 anyway, getting to play it earlier but a bit more bugged version, it was still fun. Like it was it didn't feel like I was working, you know, doing beta testing and stuff like that. It just felt like I was playing 1.0 like I normally would, recording videos like I normally would. The biggest shame there was that a lot of the stuff I recorded, like you would get a patch 3 days later and it was all irrelevant again. So I do have some beta footage that I'm not even sure I'm allowed to upload or anything like that from like way before. Some models were reworked, there were pals with the heads on backwards. A lot of that kind of stuff going on. But I think this is pretty much done now. So I'm gonna head on in, I'm gonna eat, and then I'm gonna unbox some Palworld cards. So thanks for watching.